Every year, over 10 billion animals are killed and slaughtered for human consumption, and 400 million more are killed without being used. With animals all around us, it is really easy to kind of take them for granted. Luckily, there are a lot of organizations who don't. The Humane Society of the United States is one such group. With over 12 million supporters, they're one of the largest and important rights groups with the goal of creating a humane and sustainable world for all animals. Today I'll be explaining the Humane Society's goals and their accomplishments so you can know more about the difficulties and challenges they face while trying to create a better world. The Humane Society's main targets include factory farming, animal fighting, fur trade, puppy mills, and wildlife abuse. I'll go into detail about each and explain their harmful effects, starting with factory farming. As many of you know, factory farming is the process of keeping animals in very tiny areas. Usually they can't even turn around or move while they're being harvested. This includes practices like creating foie gras, which is a delicacy of a meal, which is made by forcing ducks to eat more food than they can by putting a pipe down their throat and forcing them to eat till their livers get very fatty, and this is a delicacy of a meal. Now, factory farming is obviously terrible, but it has even further environmental impacts from all the manure and all of the, frankly, poisons from doing this process that get put out in the environment. The Humane Society also combats animal fighting, more specifically dog rings. And in dog rings, dogs are subject to terrible conditions, as expected. When they're not fighting, they're always forced up in heavy chain, small areas, usually alone, and they're only out when they get to train or when they have to kill. And most of the time, the dogs who lose are killed by their owners for losing. Animal fighting is a big problem, with the ASPCA saying there are tens of thousands of animal fighting rings going on per year with at least that many people in them. And in a dog fighting ring, you can gamble up to $500,000 at once, with up to $30,000 on a single fight. The Humane Society also combats against the fur trade, which is the trade of furs like fox, rabbit, mink, beaver, ermines, otters, sables, seals, coyotes, chinchillas, possums, and even cats and dogs. Another form of fur trade that is horrifying that I learned about recently while researching this is caribou production, which is the fur and pelt of young sheep, so young that they have to cut them out of their mothers up to a month before they be born to slaughter them and then sell their pelts. The processes of fur trade, and that are 50,000 animals per year, 50 million animals per year being killed. Lastly, they fight against puppy mills, and I'm sure everyone knows what a puppy mill is. It's when a dog is being forced to have children over and over and over again, and usually kept in very confined spaces. Now, a problem with combating them is technically puppy mills are not illegal. There are no laws against keeping animals in confined spaces as long as you give them enough food, enough water, and shelter from the elements. Puppy mills cause over 4 million animals per year to be euthanized, as there aren't enough people to take care of this many dogs. Finally, wildlife abuse is their last goal that they're trying to fight against, with trophy hunting and poaching killing hundreds of thousands of animals and, this is a lot longer than I thought it was, and tens of millions per year. Now that we've went over their goals, we can talk about how they have achieved many of these goals. With factory farming, big companies like McDonald's and Burger King, after being pushed by them, have decided to not use any factory farmed animals. And the Humane Society has been rescuing many animals from the meat trade in China, with 3,000 dogs and cats rescued in the last year alone. Factory farming is very hard to fight against, and even harder now that certain laws in Alabama, Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and North Carolina, called the Ag-Gag laws, are becoming more prevalent, which are laws that make it illegal to whistleblow on inhumane factory farm conditions. The Humane Society's work on dogfighting rings and animal fighting in general has mostly been through the government, with federal legislation being upgraded on it 4 times in the last decade alone, and likely going to get worse and harder for criminals as we go along. The fur trade, the Humane Society's progress in the fur trade is mostly with the people. As they spread more and more information about the fur trade, less and less people want to buy furs. And they furthermore started getting college students who are fashion designers to start making fake fur items to sell and start going from that instead. And lastly, they've been working against puppy mills, but as it's very hard to shut one down, as they're not illegal, they've mostly just been spreading out the information about it and just making more people dislike the idea of them. So today I've explained the goals of the Humane Society and the work they've done around the world. While they've made extensive progress, there is always more work for them to do, as animal cruelty is a deeply rooted issue. Because of this, they're always in need of help, and I hope that the next time you see animal cruelty in the news, you will think about the people who are fighting against it.